I discovered my family secret when my sister accidentally added me to a hidden group text. There were 47 messages detailing a holiday vacation they planned without me for the third consecutive year. My mother explicitly typed that they must ensure I did not find out. My brother suggested lying about the date just like they did last year. My father simply replied with a laughing emoji while I sat alone 400 miles away reading every word. I immediately saved the images of their conversation to my phone before sending a single response on Christmas morning. I am a structural engineer who spends months analyzing unstable foundations and cracked concrete for major bridge projects. My job requires extreme precision and an eye for hidden flaws, which makes me very patient. Growing up in Ohio, I was always the quiet middle child who stayed out of trouble while my siblings received all the praise. I spent my entire adult life trying to buy their affection by being the reliable one. I always sent expensive gifts on time and organized birthday dinners for my mother. When my father required surgery, I drove 6 hours to assist him without hesitation. When the roof leaked at the family home, I paid the repair deposit myself because my brother was too busy. I assumed that being helpful would finally make me feel like a true member of the family. Last year they told me the celebration was on the 28th of December. I drove down with a homemade dish and a bottle of wine only to find the house dark and locked. When I called my mother, she claimed they changed the plans to the 25th at the last minute. I told her it was my fault for not checking because I genuinely believed her. Now looking at the messages, I realized the locked door was entirely intentional. The texts revealed an even bigger betrayal that made my stomach drop. My brother mentioned a closing date on the 26th and warned them to keep me away until then. My mother noted that the buyer wanted a final walkthrough on Christmas afternoon, so the property needed to be vacant. They were secretly selling the beloved home of my late grandmother Hazel. That house was the only place where I ever felt safe and truly loved. Grandmother Hazel gave me the key to her beautiful property during Thanksgiving 8 years ago. She pressed the heavy brass piece into my hand and stated that the home belonged to me whenever I needed shelter. My mother rolled her eyes and my siblings ignored the gesture entirely. They thought it was just a meaningless sentimental moment from an old woman. They had no idea that her kindness carried actual legal weight that would stop them. I opened my laptop in the dark hotel room and accessed the county recorder website. I searched the history of the property on Sycamore Street to see what they were doing. The database loaded slowly, but I finally found the official document from 8 years ago. It was a certified quitclaim deed that my grandmother signed and recorded after a minor illness. The legal document listed my mother and me as equal tenants in common. My grandmother was a very smart woman who knew how my family operated. She did not just give me a sentimental key because she formally gave me half of the property. The record showed no other transfers or changes since that day, which meant I was still a legal owner. My family assumed I would just go along with their decisions without checking the paperwork. They did not realize that a real estate sale requires every owner to sign. The next morning my mother called me using her warmest tone of voice. She explained that they were keeping the holiday celebration very small with just the 4 of them. She suggested that I could come by for some leftover food on the 28th if I finished my work. Hearing her repeat the exact lie from the group chat made me feel incredibly cold. I politely agreed to check my schedule and quickly ended the brief conversation. A few days later my sister Chloe called and inadvertently revealed the true motive behind the sudden sale. She shifted the conversation to our brother Julian and mentioned that his auto shop was failing because the bank was threatening foreclosure. My mother had co-signed the business loan, which put her own personal savings at risk. Selling the property of my grandmother was their secret plan to generate quick cash to clear the debt. They sacrificed my inheritance to save him. I chose not to confront them immediately because I wanted the legal system to do the work. I contacted a local title attorney and provided a copy of the recorded deed. The lawyer confirmed that the title was clouded and the sale could not proceed without my signature. The closing agent would discover the issue during the final title search right before the holidays. I waited patiently while my family continued preparing for their private Christmas celebration. On Christmas morning I woke up early and looked at the family group chat. They were sharing photos of the festive decorations and the beautiful dinner table. Nobody had sent me a single holiday greeting or asked about my well-being. I typed a single line into the group thread wishing them a Merry Christmas and telling them their realtor would explain the rest. I immediately blocked their numbers and closed the application. My phone immediately began to vibrate with dozens of missed calls and urgent text notifications. The closing attorney had notified their real estate agent that the sale was legally blocked due to an undisclosed owner. My family was suddenly facing a massive legal mess and the loss of their buyer. They finally realized that the quiet daughter they spent years ignoring held all the power. Their elaborate plan to deceive me completely shattered within minutes. I refused to answer their frantic phone calls and instead directed everything through my legal representative. My attorney informed them that I would not sign any deed transfer unless the proceeds were split fairly. They tried to argue and claim I was destroying the family, but the legal facts remained unchanged. My brother had to face the reality of his business failure without using my inheritance as a shield. They had to learn accountability. The house was eventually sold months later, but only after I received my legal half of the funds. I used that money to invest in my own future and distance myself from their toxicity. I no longer spend my time trying to earn a place at a table where I am not welcome. My grandmother gave me the tools to protect myself because she saw how they treated me. Her love protected me long after she passed away. If you are currently feeling excluded by the people who are supposed to love you, please remember your worth. You do not need to apologize for taking up space or demanding respect from others. Sometimes walking away and standing your ground is the greatest act of self-preservation available. My family taught me how to be invisible, but my grandmother taught me how to be strong. I am finally building a life on a solid foundation.